like to thank you and introduce Dr. Santosh Ramchuran. He is the research group leader for the bioprocessing group, and he will be taking us through technology localization and the development of bio-based products for agriculture and preventative health.
Thank you, Chair. I think there's no introductions that I needed. Laura has introduced me. I'm the research group leader for bioprocessing. I was going to chat to you quickly around, Laura's presented a few of the products that we've developed under the BIDC program. It sounds fairly nice when you have the product in a final form, but there's a whole area in terms of development and how do you get there. Sometimes it's a very easy journey, sometimes it's a very difficult and long journey, and sometimes it's not so exciting, and you do fail. You have to recognize that you fail. Sometimes these products are just not commercially viable. So just in terms of the context of our presentation, I'm just going to give a brief introduction in terms of the work that we do and the introduction of my group. And then in these two key areas that we're going to have a panel discussion on agribiologicals and the probiotics, I'll go into some sort of details around how we've developed those products. And then I'll highlight in the end some key success points or key areas that we think is important in terms of trying to rapidly commercialize these type of innovations. So I think the debate around climate change is over. Everybody knows it's a reality. And what has that done is basically brought this huge competition for new value chains from bio-based feedstocks. And there's a paradigm shift we've seen in terms of research, in terms of looking for bio-based solutions. And the way that has basically brought about this whole area that's called now disruptive bio-based technologies or disruptive bio-based innovations to create technologies that are greener and much more environmentally friendly, but also techno-economically feasible products and processes to actually get into the market. So a little bit about my group. So in line with what we're doing around disruptive technology, we're looking at developing these bio-based products and processes for integration into existing industries in South Africa, but also for the establishment of new bio-based industries. When I say new bio-based industries, it also includes your small to medium enterprises in terms of putting these products out there. And the model that we follow is around, ideas that come from universities, from other institutions, from entrepreneurs that have some sort of idea about what they want to do with a product. And we try and put in what we call the nuts and bolts around the process and actually getting this product to a certain level. All the work that's done in my group is aligned to some sort of tick boxes in the sustainability development goals, because they're all focused on bio-based or circular economy thinking. And I guess what I would like to see is that CSIR at some point becomes the African hub for disruptive bio-based innovations and products at some point. I think we're not there yet, but I think if we carry on in this trajectory, and if you see from the number of products that we've put out so far in a short space of time, I think we will get there. So in terms of the research focus and the expertise in my group, like I said, we try to kind of work around the TRL levels from applied research, taking it right up to commercialization. But what we've seen is sometimes the pipelines of products coming in from very early stage of the proof of concept or from the universities is lacking. So we have to go back and actually start from the proof of concept in terms of an idea and take it all the way up to commercialization. I think we're fortunate in my group at CSR that we have a portfolio of technologies that we've developed basically from proof of concept right up to TRL level 6 as demonstrations. And we've also got examples of where we've licensed our technologies and they are commercially implemented in South Africa. In terms of our area of expertise, like you see there, it's more on the bioprocessing, like I said, putting the nuts and bolts to a process and looking at techno-economics, optimizing the process as well. We also look at a lot of process validations, especially if it is entrepreneurs or technologies coming from outside South Africa that claim to be the next best thing. It's always about validation and actually seeing if it can work. So we do a lot of process validation, formulation. Our drive is around prototype development, rapid prototype development in my area. We have a huge emphasis on skills development. Bioprocessing is scarce skills in South Africa. You don't see many production plants. We've been fortunate, like Lara showed you, to have a number of toys that we can play with. So these are capital intensive plants. So the reality is that entrepreneurs and companies do not have a place where they can actually innovate or get to a prototype, or also do some sort of biomanufacturing. So as much like as I don't want to say it, we do a bit of toy manufacturing. And that's to get the companies to a certain level in terms of a pre-commercialization step. So we assist them for maybe 2 or 3 years to try and get the product in the market, get the recognition that they require, market acceptance of their products. But we are of the realization, and Lara has mentioned it, that at some point, their demand is going to outweigh our basically supply. So there has to be, and we are in discussions with various organizations, including TIA, DSI, looking at what's the next step in terms of full-scale commercial, so some sort of open source toll manufacturing platform or facility that can assist these number of SMEs that are coming in. So in terms of what we've done in the group, we've worked around development of platform technologies. And in our case, it's all about bioaugmentation. So the products that we talked about, it all revolves around one issue on bioaugmentation. And that's basically using natural microbes, eco-friendly microbes, and kind of enhancing either the soil environment or the gut microbiome to try and make them work effectively. The good part of it in terms of where we work, we use all natural kind of we augment natural systems. All our bugs are indigenous to South Africa. We don't bring in imported bugs. They're all from South Africa. In terms of quality control, we have a very important and very strict kind of process in terms of quality control, even at a prototype level, because these often go into market testing and environments for testing. And the idea here is that when we hand over this entire production process to a company, they have all the necessary processes in place to go and implement it immediately. We try and innovate around stability and efficacy as well. A lot of the times, techno-economics may look good, but the stability and efficacy are a problem. So we try and put that as a basket offering in terms of quality, stability, efficacy, and techno-economics. So in terms of my group, we have this biomanufacturing platforms that we've established, which is around the agricultural biologicals, the probiotics, and the bioadditives. And in that platforms, we focus a lot on the proof of concept development, getting up to a certain stage. But then it moves further from the TRL level 6, where we try and develop the product and process to become a commercial reality. And that's where a lot of work in the bioprocessing group that we do, where the major innovation comes around. It's maybe not an entire bioprocess that we have to innovate around, but what we do is try and find the steps that we need to be innovative enough to drive the techno-economics or the quality at a certain level. So the group very easily, like I said, from proof of concept right down to commercialization is where we play with. But what we've seen recently is that we've got some very nice projects. I mean, we do these calls of entrepreneurs that have actually slightly past the proof of concept. And all they require is basically assessing the process and looking at whether the technology makes sense. Once we've done that, then we enter into what we call almost a manufacturing kind of mode, where we say, let's do the pre-commercial production for you. Let's get you into the market. Let's test the market and look at the demand before you go and break ground and set up your entire production facility. Because I mentioned it's capital intensive. So the whole idea is, at the end, we want to try and come out with unique, techno-economically feasible production processes for chemical replacements. In this case of the agricultural biologicals, we're looking at your chemical fertilizers, fungicides, and pesticides. In terms of probiotics, it's about preventative health, so it's more getting away from using the antibiotics even for animal production and those kind of things. So just jumping into the both areas or the platforms that we're looking at, you would see the agricultural biologicals. It's a massive market. It's been around for a number of years. There are products currently in the South African market. The issue that we have with that products is that the microbial strains are not indigenous to South Africa. The other issue that we have is that the concentration that's applied in the final products basically does not work effectively in the environment. And that's about a business offering, because 90% of the companies in South Africa, I would say almost 100%, I think there's one company that produces their own microbes in South Africa. Most of them have imported microbes that come in that are almost kind of diluted in terms of making more money. So they cut up these products, and that's the issue. So, and that's a key issue in South Africa, is that there's no local manufacture of these products, and these strains are not used. So for us, the opportunity was, can we innovate around this and develop local technology around this whole area? Because it's a massive market and it's a massive demand. And if you look at global trends, and some of our panels will talk about it, global trends in terms of adoption of agricultural biologicals. In the last 10 years, it's been massive, and the USA has been leading the way. There's this drive around reducing the amount of fertilizer and stuff, because it's a huge impact on not only the cost of manufacture for agriculture, but also in terms of the real challenges of contamination of groundwater and those kind of things. So we've been successful, like I said. So I'm just to highlight a couple of examples here. We've played around with biofertilizer, biostimulants, and biopesticides. We've used microbes in different consortiums, understanding them. And it's all about understanding the soil microbiome. And there's been an increase in research around decoding the soil microbiome, looking at those beneficial microbes that you can identify, that we can now manufacture single strains and augment the system so that you get better efficacy. We've got examples of technology being licensed out for, like biocontrol in bananas for Panama disease and those kind of things. And we've also have a couple of biostimulants that's for wheat production. Our new area that we're focusing on, is we're looking at targeted crops. And this is going to be certain crops that basically we know is more for kind of small scale farmers and subsistence farmers. So this is about food production. And we're targeting those crops, but giving them the combined effect of both biocontrol and plant growth promotion, together with it being quite cheaper, so that it can be affordable to these small scale farmers and subsistence farmers. Added to that, as CSR, it's always about innovation. We throw in the angles about the new innovations like slow release and prolonged efficacy. So you're getting what we're calling a unique product with unique selling points. So you don't have to have 10 products for biocontrol. It's one product, combined effect, and it basically is affordable to South African farmers. The other area was probiotics. I'm not going to go into it fully, but I think it's well known, in terms of administering probiotics that can confer some sort of health benefit. And here as well, it's all about understanding the gut microbiome. We've looked at it. There's all the probiotics that come into South Africa are imported. There is no local manufacturing. So the question is, can we do this? And we have Lighthouse Healthcare will be chatting around the probiotics work that we've done. So there we've used unique combinations as well, or single strains in terms of manufacturing it locally, and also, like I said, with the CSR, providing the added kind of advantage of slow release and protection, so that it actually works where it's supposed to work. So in terms of the animal probiotics, we've also been quite successful. We've got unique combinations in terms of microbial consortiums that took us a number of years to develop, but these are currently going to commercialization. I think the product will be commercialized in the next couple of months. We're actually going through a massive field trial right now. We've done further field trials that actually shows they're very effective. And the trials are not only in South Africa, but in other countries, including Thailand and India. So this is going to be commercialized very soon. And this has shown basically efficacy against basically knocking off the pathogens, but also in terms of having very good feed conversion ratio, which ultimately is what you want for increased production and cheaper production. So, sorry. What has been our key to success? One of the areas is around the way we kind of innovate, and it's around rapid prototype developing. So getting from, an idea right to a prototype can take us, a first generation product prototype, can take us as short as basically 3 months or 6 months in terms of this technology. This gives us ideas at that first generation where we need to further innovate and which direction we need to go. What it also gives us is a prototype that you can rapidly almost test the market or test the efficacy very quickly to see if you've got a competitive edge or not. And what other innovations do you need to bolt on later to become competitive? So we adopt the concept to commercial approach very quickly. So Lara has shown you, yes, all the nice toys that we have to do it. But to me, in my group, one of the major assets is the people. And I've been fortunate, basically, in terms of the people that I have in my group. They have distinctive competencies in bioprocessing, and we're bringing in more people and we're developing. And I haven't designed this, but my entire team of researchers are all female. It's not by design. And we are increasing more people coming in. But I think one of the major things in terms of success for us has been collaboration. Collaboration with industry, university, partners, to try and understand if we are actually innovating correctly, if there's a real need for what we are doing. So to us, collaboration, people, infrastructure, key to success. Thank you.